Hi there. Today I'm going to show you how to write and execute scripts in Etlworks. Etlworks supports several scripting languages. First of all, JavaScript and Python, then command line script, and finally SQL. We're going to start with command line script. So command line script is executed outside of Etlworks sandbox. It uses a scripting language available for the host operating system, for operating system which runs Etlworks. So on Linux it can be Bash or C Shell, or on Windows CMD or PowerShell, and other options are also available. Once again, the command line script runs outside of Etlworks sandbox. That's why this flow type is not available by default. If you are using hosted version of Etlworks, managed by Etlworks, then contact Etlworks support at support@etlworks.com. If you are using self-hosted version of Etlworks, contact your system administrator to enable command line flow type. Once enabled, you can pretty much execute any set of commands that you type in on the command line script. So we're going to run a simple program which executes Python available in the host operating system. All right, so that's the code. As you can see, it cds to home folder, outputs the home folder name, lists files in the folder, and then executes print command using Python available in the host operating system. Let's assign a tag demo and let's run it. If you look at the log, you will see that it successfully executed all these commands. So that's the Python code. Okay. Now let's make an error in the code and run the flow again. It executed and it shows success. However, if you look at the log, you will see that the Python reports syntax error. So how do we make flow to fail if there is an error? Simple. So we're going to copy this entry in the log. We're going to open flow and we're going to enter error mask. So if system detects this substring in the log, it will mark flow as failed. So let's run it again. Now it reports an error, as it should. Now let's fix the error and run it one last more time. Success, as expected. Hide error is here. So once again, you typically don't need to execute command line scripts in Etlworks. It includes all the capabilities that you'll ever need. However, one of the use cases when you might need to run it is when you want to execute external Python. Etlworks includes a Python, but you cannot load third-party libraries with it. So you would need to use command line script to be able to use third-party libraries with the Python. There are other use cases. So you might want to I don't know, move files from one place to another. Again, there is a capability, similar capability in Etlworks itself, but in many cases you already have scripts that you want to reuse. So we give you this ability by using command line script flow type. Okay. So the second use case, as I said, there are 2 or 3 other languages, command line languages in Etlworks: JavaScript, Python, and SQL. So let's do JavaScript first. So we're going to select JavaScript flow type, and we are going to enter an actual JavaScript. So when you open the code editor, you will see that it defaults to JavaScript, defaults highlight into JavaScript. So very simple code, parses JSON, outputs first name and last name from the JSON. Let's run it. Here we go, first name and last name. When you run scripts in Etlworks, such as JavaScript or Python, have access to entire library of ETL library that is powering Etlworks instance. So everything Etlworks instance can do using UI, you can do in code as well. We don't encourage you to do so, but there are many cases when you do want to run code. And that's not the only place where you can run JavaScript or Python or even SQL code. There are many other places. For example, in mapping, you can provide a function which calculates column value. Or in a transformation, you can provide a code which is executed after transformation is done, etc. There are, as I said, there are many places where you can execute JavaScript or Python or SQL code. However, there are dedicated flow types such as execute JavaScript, Python, or SQL code. Okay. So next case, Python code. So we already executed Python using command line script. Now let's execute Python using built-in interpreter. So we're going to assign demo tag. We're going to enter Python code here. And we're going to switch to Python color highlighter in code editor. So super simple program, 2 numbers. We do a summary of the 2 and we output to the log using specific formatting. All right. So that's a flow. We're going to run it and we're going to see an output. And of course, the output is what we expect. So here you can make an error. Let's do a similar error right here that we did previously when we were running Python using command line script. This time you don't have to add any additional information to kind of tell the system that there is an error. It detects it automatically. It says what exactly happening, and so you know where to look at. That's the line of the code which has an error. Okay, it shows it in exception log. So I'm going to fix it, save it, and run it again. And of course, this time it's complete success. All right, finally, we're going to run a SQL code. So there's a dedicated flow type SQL script to run SQL scripts. So you select execute SQL flow type in the gallery. Provide a name as usual and optional tag. You select database connection. So we're going to run this on Snowflake. Then under parameters, you enter your SQL code. So let's take a look. First of all, the code editor defaults to SQL, so correct highlighting. What it does, it executes a 3 or more, so 2 DDL and 3 DML statements on Snowflake connection. So it drops a table if it does not exist. It creates a table with all these columns, and it inserts 3 records into the table. All right, and it runs on Snowflake connection. The additional parameters are SQL is anonymous block statement. So you can you're not limited to a set of semicolon delimiter statements executed one by one. You can actually write a code in a script in a flavor of SQL supported by target database. So in Snowflake, you can write stored procedures or anonymous blocks in JavaScript or Python together with SQL. In Oracle, it's PL SQL. In SQL Server, it's T-SQL, etc., etc., etc. So all these databases, they have their own programming language, and you can use it. You just need to enable SQL's anonymous block code. By default, it auto commits, and you can provide parameters, etc. So I'm going to run this code. And successfully executed. So we will look in Explorer. Remember, we were creating a product table in Snowflake. So we're going to check if this table was indeed created. And of course it was. And that's the columns that we provided. And we can actually check data in the table. So we inserted 3 records and they are here. And this is it. Thank you.